I am Szebastian on a GS, and you're listening to Intention Pod, the monologue. We tend to live our lives defined by the social construct, thinking as we are told to think, doing as we are told to do, until one day we wake up and realize this is not who I am. In this podcast, I talk about creating life with, for, and by our intention, defying the social construct, unafraid, unashamed, unapologetic, challenging the status quo, and living out loud and proud with intention. Let's do this. Being a voluble introvert in an unending battle with anxiety disorder, coupled with foot and mouth pestilence with a side of overthinking salad dressed in hyper functioning clinical depression with a hint of PTSD, is absolutely as fucked up a roller coaster of firepower and self doubt as you can imagine it to be. And then some. Add to that an ability to hide it all well, being a champion of the brave faced living and always wanting to be there for others while putting yourself last is one hell of a ride. And I deserve a triple PhD for it, since being a Nobel laureate of accomplishing peace in a brain with 14 resident and loud, extremely conflicting split personalities could be a bit on the nose. Before you hit the panic button and run for cover, let me assure you, I'm not here to rant or whine, nor to sob or repine. To the contrary, exactly 19 years, 6 months, and 17 days ago, I had already begun the acceptance tour of blathering introvert mentorpreneur of all the 21st centuries humankind has witnessed thus far. It is a scary head to live in, that I must right side of it all. This complexity of being a unique personality gifted with a Pandora box of mental fitness barriers helped me build an armor of resilience that makes me a tireless, unstoppable, and indomitable voice of reason and perpetual optimism, at least for myself. I wake up every morning. Um, 1 a.m. It's technically morning, right? With all these personalities and mental barriers, starting my day with loud screams of pessimism in my head. You are going to fail. You do not belong here. You must quit. Why are you even breathing? What a burden you are. And trust me, the start of my day can be quite a war of ideologies per se, depending on how craftily the obstacles have been placed on the track of race between my mental wellness complexities and my determination to defeat them all with my craving to celebrate one more day that I get to live. The first 5 to 15 minutes, or even 2 hours, can be quite a hyper coaster. But most days, I win. I have been winning 8 out of 10 times for the last 19 years, 6 months, and 17 days. Not that I have a record or stats to prove that claim, but if you know, you know. Yes, the 2 out of 10 times when I lose, it is scary. It is as scary today as it was the first time. But now I possess the power of recognition of what is coming my way. And more importantly, what I need to do to fight and win this battle with intention. Here are 9 things I do differently now compared to the time when I used to hit a wall that I could not climb, break down, or at least stop myself from crashing into. The first thing I do is I pause. Physically, mentally, socially, I take a pause. I could be laying in my bed or sitting in my office or anywhere in between. I find a place and a space where I can be alone and yell out loud, pause right now, right here, this very moment, to myself. I verbally tell myself to stop thinking. I say it out loud so I can hear my own voice outside of my head and take a pause from thinking, overthinking even, from doing what I'm doing physically, and from engaging myself socially just long enough to breathe and not demand anything from myself and stop all expectations, internal or external, just for a moment so I can breathe without a purpose, a reason, or a mission to fulfill. Just take a pause. Here I will mention Dr. Patti Talbot and her show and mantra on your own terms that literally empowers you to say no or choose what you want to do, how you want to do it, and when and why in your life, but on your own terms. At least as much as is genuinely possible in your circumstances. And everything is possible when you decide that it has to be. You can find her work on YouTube under the branding BlueRoads Education or Changemaker U. I'll add that info to my website as well. The second thing, as I call it, mirror, mirror on the wall, an ugly cry without the ball. Stay with me for a moment and let me explain. We are so focused on not letting the ball drop that we give ourselves no leeway, no opportunity, not a single moment just to look at ourselves without the ball and see who we are when the damn ball doesn't exist in our life. Mirror to me is a person outside of my own body, yet there is no one else to witness what I say to it, how I say it, and what I feel when I say it. So, ugly cry all I want, as loud, as sniffly, as naughty as I need to be, so the pain, the hurt, the whirlwind in my mind can all roll down my cheeks onto my chest, maybe even on the floor, and I can feel lighter, released of all that burden that I'm carrying inside. Mirror already knows the truth. That needs not repeating, and it does not judge, nor does it demand for us to sugarcoat it. It just knows. And that, in its own way, is a relief. It helps me talk myself out of my negative state of mind. Third, journaling. Write it down. In my journal, I look at the present with a view of the past, but from an angle of how far I have come and that I made it this far, despite it all, and look to the future I want to build. It gives me a wholesome picture of where I stand, what I feel, and what is bothering me. It helps me achieve clarity. It sometimes also works as a confessional without going into the confession box. I believe it is a very tangible and a reliable way of stopping yourself from getting way in over your head because you can see your own writing and read back to yourself what you're feeling in the moment. And the clarity can create magic. Number four, dance like no one is watching because no one is in your own room, or sing like a bird because she does not care for critical acclaim or the Grammy. Dancing and singing are both very physical and emotional form of expression. They are a superb release that physically demand your body to release chemicals that are toxic and produce the ones that bring joy, excitement, and dare I say relief. As a matter of fact, for a long time now, I begin my day with at least 10 minutes of dancing and singing at once in my own room, sometimes with loud music, sometimes with earphones when I know my music could be a noise for someone else. It perks me up, often enough to say that I'm okay. It really works. And the next thing is play with my dogs, or cats for that matter. You know, dogs and cats are in fact your therapists on call. And the best part, they do not ask questions, nor do they give an opinion. They just listen, look at you, give you a cuddle, a boop on your nose, or even a pat on hand or face to say, "Human, it's going to be all right. Besides, we need you to be okay because who the heck is going to fill our food bowls, huh?" And they do not tell absolutely anyone about anything you said. No notes taken, no notes shared, a privacy guarantee like no one else. And it's cute and fluffy. So, what the heck? Next thing on the list is phone a friend or a parent or your spouse or an actual therapist. While I advise you to choose your people carefully, I also insist that you keep at least 2 to 3 people on your fast dial in agreement with them who know and understand enough and are people who want to be there for you on a blue day. People who are ready to listen without offering advice or saying me too, but just tell you I'm here. And that is it. People who are not trying to fix you or repair you or tell you to be strong, but just to listen with kindness and patience. I have some of those magicians in my life. They have literally saved my life a few times now. Lucky me, or poor them, I'll never know. And then the next thing on my list is change things. Look around to see what needs to change and change it. Here I said it. Often, be it a health condition or circumstances, the negative thoughts are induced by something around or within us that is causing the ache. Living with clinical depression and PTSD complemented with an anxiety disorder, I can tell you there are times when it looks like there is no real or natural reason for things to change because there does not seem to be a cause. But the fact is, there's always something we can change, however little, to change how we feel about ourselves, our life, our situation, and whatever is causing us to feel the sadness or conflict we feel. At this point, I invite you to check out the Flourishing Introvert Talk by Joanna Rawbone, the founder of Flourishing Introverts, and specifically look for Harvest Month series on her YouTube, also called at Flourishing Introverts. Her nuggets about sorting and clearing are my personal favorites, although the entire series has been such a powerful game changer. Again, you'll find this info on my website too. Make decisions, not goals. We live in a world where goals mean everything. If you do not have goals, you are deemed as directionless and wasteful person to have their time or attention. This is something I learned from two of the best mentors I have come across in my life, my mummy and papa. From early on, they taught me that goals are a social construct that is built around chasing the mirage of fulfillment that will never come true. Instead, they always encouraged me to make decisions, decide what I want in life, what resources do I need, and how I will get it. They also insisted that I go in expecting the best, but preparing for the worst. So if I fail, I'm not disappointed, but ready to evaluate the lesson I got to learn and what it taught me for the next attempt. You see, for me, goals are like school marks that are decided based on exposure to and availability of limited text in the prescribed books. There's very little room for your own vision and thought. So you're marked on the basis of something that does not have a lot to do with what you know, think, and experience in life, but simply memorizing what is supposed to be the right answer. On the other hand, when you make decisions, you have to take the ownership of creating your own strategy, deciding the resources you need, finding ways to accessing those resources, and being fully aware that you may fail. Yet you're determined to do everything in your power to stop that from happening and still being ready to learn if you do fail and do better next time because you have already decided that there will be a next time and the next until you have done what you decided that you will do and accomplish. Finally, give myself grace. You're not perfect. Stop aiming for perfection. Instead, aim for growth. And be grateful for as much or as little growth that happens, but always be kind to yourself when things do not work out the way you want them to. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to trip. You're going to be scratched by some barbed wires and even shocked if they're electric per se. When you're trying to overcome the barriers before you, all that will happen. It is okay to say, I screwed up, or I'm not perfect, nor do I need to be. I'm learning. I'll get better. I'm worthy of love, kindness, and compassion, first of all from myself before expecting from others. As my friend Jean Vengrin says, we're all WIP, a work in progress. And it is okay to give ourselves a little hug, a little cuddle, as we remind ourselves, you tried. That is progress. That is growth. That is beautiful. I hope some or all of these steps will help you fight the battle of your own unique and complex mental wellness obstacles and create a life despite it all with intention. I'd love to know how this episode impacted you, so please contact me on any social platform via my handle at SebastianOne or my website Szebastian.com. That is Sebastian with an SZ at the front, or for Americans, that's SZ. And I will really appreciate if you can give this podcast a 5-star rating. Until next, I'm Sebastian One, the intention strategist, entrepreneur maker, and the almost naked CEO. And I'm here because I care and because I give a damn to create, engage, and lead as together we dream big and make it happen intentionally.